So just remember as you go through your practice to keep it light. Don't stress about anything. You probably had some stress during the day. So don't stress about what you're doing in yoga, certainly. So I suggest that you start lying down. If for any reason you are not comfortable lying down, by all means, just sit up. And oftentimes when you're lying down, I'll be sitting up simply to project my voice a little better. So come to lying down on your mat. If you are at home and you would rather lie down on your couch and have someone waving a feather fan and feeding you grapes, whatever works, just come to a comfortable position, like your home base, so to speak. And when you get there, if you like, close your eyes to reduce input, to reduce what your senses are picking up, and dive your awareness inside. Notice if anything in your body calls out to you, like ouch, or hello, or yippee. Doesn't have to be a bad thing or a good thing. Don't attach any value to what you notice other than using it to inform your practice as it unfolds this evening. So you can have the best possible experience that you can. Make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to be on the mat any special way. You don't have to have your legs splayed out as in Shavasana. You can have your knees bent, feet on the floor. You could even be lying on your side if that is more comfortable. And notice as you invite your body to do as little as possible and you invite your eyes to close and the senses to receive less information, notice how you react to that. Does it feel like an ah moment? Or do you feel, oh, wait, I really forgot to do this or that? Is that part of your chattering brain interfering with your mellow mood? And then dive your awareness into your breath and let your awareness of yourself float along the breath as if it was surfing the smallest, calmest ripple of a wave. Notice your breath as it rolls in and as it rolls out. Notice if you can breathe freely through your nose, if you can breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, which would be kind of ideal for our yoga practice, but maybe not workable for you. Make sure you just always feel like you're breathing freely and with comfort and without effort. Notice the breath as it fills and empties. There's no need to change the breath. Just be with the breath and float along with its natural rhythm. As I direct your awareness to your breath in various places in the body, just know that if you'd rather reduce the sense of sound and kind of let my voice be in the background and just chill, that's perfectly okay. Bring your awareness to your chest and to your belly, and you can place your hands there if you like, if that's useful to dial your awareness into those areas. And just notice as you breathe, if you feel lift in the belly, lift in the chest, is one more pronounced? Are they rising at the same time? Notice whatever you noticed, no need to change. And then think of this whole belly to chest area as the top of you, assuming, let's say you're lying on the mat. So we're just going to refer to that as the top. And bring your awareness to the corresponding bottom, your back. And think of those areas as the cookie halves of an ice cream sandwich, and the ice cream is everything in the middle. And as you inhale and the lungs expand, think of both the top and the bottom of you reaching away, expanding, reaching away from the midline. And as you exhale, coming back toward the ice cream center. And I hope I'm not making you hungry. And do that a few times without changing your breath. As you inhale, breathe into the top of you and breathe into the back of you without force. And notice if some places seem to expand more readily and some places maybe seem like they don't. And that could be due to any kind of injury or stiffness. And then shift your awareness to your sides, your right and your left side, particularly up in the sides, let's say right below the armpits and maybe 6 or 7 inches below that. So dive your awareness there. You could bring your hands there too, but that could be awkward depending on how your arms feel. So you might want to have not want to bring your hands there for that tactile information. And as you inhale, notice if you feel that you're kind of widening right to left. And as you exhale, notice if you can feel a little softening, a little condensing back toward the midline. And follow the side dimensions with your breath awareness for a few more breaths. Noticing your inhale and your exhale. So we went the front of our body, or I think I used the word top here, top and bottom, side to side. Now think about length from the crown of your head down to your tail. And if you're lying on the mat, if you're lying flat, make sure your neck is comfortable. And as you inhale, imagine your spine literally kind of lengthening like a slinky. Some of you might be too young to know what a slinky was. And as you exhale, the coils of your spine coming a little closer and your spine coming to your unique shape of your spine. As you inhale, breathe along the length of your spine, getting longer. And as you exhale, don't try and change anything. Just let that slinky kind of come back to where it was. Let the spine recoil into its natural shape. And then if it feels okay, think about all the dimensions we looked into, so to speak, the front or top and the back. So the 2 cookie halves of your ice cream sandwich, the sides of your body, particularly rib cage side, not the hip so much, and also the length of your spine from top to bottom, and breathe into all those dimensions at the same time without force, noticing where you sense the expansion. And notice where you experience the condensing. And then if you were not lying on your back for the introduction to class, or it looks for me from here, the screen is pretty small, but it looks like maybe a few people either came in again or people are still coming in. So if you're just coming in now, just make sure to take a few quiet moments, gather your props, the blanket to cover you, some blocks or soft decorative pillows. Just gather your stuff, and we're going to be lying on the mat now for just a few movements, including some bridge variations. So if you have a block, have that handy. If you don't have that, have a pillow handy. We're not going to use it just yet, but get it by your side. A bed pillow might be a little bit much. We're looking for something lightweight. And bend your knees and place your feet on your mat. Make sure your head is comfortable. You do not have to have a prop under your head at all. I usually don't, but I like to have my head a little higher so I can have some view of the screen, even though most of you are very shy and don't have your camera on. So I just see your names. So bend your knees, as I said, have your feet parallel. Take your arms down by your side with the palms down, and just pause there. Notice how your upper back meets the mat. Can you feel the inner borders of your shoulder blades? And if you can't, don't worry. It's not necessarily a good thing if you feel your shoulder blades digging into the floor. We want to feel the broad expanse of the upper back, ideally, including the ribs in between those shoulder blades. And now reposition your arms. So your palms are facing your hips. The pinky edge of your hand is down on your sticky mat, and your thumbs would be looking toward the ceiling. So just in taking your arms from flat to the floor, we're starting to externally rotate them here. Notice if that created a little more space in your upper chest area. And then continue externally rotating your arms. So you're rolling your arms, palms to the ceiling, back of the hands to the floor. And don't go past in this movement and any other movement we do. Don't go to your edge. Don't go to your end range. You can snuggle up toward it, but we don't want to be at the end of it because then we have nowhere else to go and we want to be gentle with our bodies. So the backs of your hands might not be fully down, very normal. The back, your thumb might not touch the ground here, but just notice with whatever external opening you got in those arms, if you now have more spaciousness in your upper chest, and feel free to explore that with your hands, explore your own body at any time. Now it's not too comfortable to stay here. So keep your upper arms rolling outward, if that makes sense. Keep the opening of the upper arms from your elbow down to your fingertips. Bring that right back down to your mat. Now, grab a hold of your prop. And if you have a block or a pillow, place it in between your two legs and then get your arms back down with the palms down, the upper arms nice and open. And just hold whatever prop you're using with just enough effort to keep it from falling. So if you don't have a yoga blocks are very light. So that's why I suggest a pillow here more than a book. A book would be very heavy and you really don't want a hardcover book possibly landing on your feet. So, and you don't have to use it at all. What this just does is when we go to do our bridging, which we're going to begin in a moment, it reminds us to keep our legs active and even so we don't have one leg coming out like that or the knees tipping in. It keeps a nice alignment. So now from here, press your arms and palms down. And as you inhale, press into your feet, lift up the backs of your thighs. And as the thighs lift, they'll take the hips. As the hips lift, they'll take the low back. And keep just enough activity in your legs to keep that prop, if you have one, suspended and not dropping to the floor. And as you exhale, lower back down. Let everything go. And when you lower back down, just let your body really just kind of plop, in the sense that all the alertness that you use to get up and bridge, release that alertness. Trying another arm position now you might like better. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. So your upper arms are still pretty much pinned down to your mat. Your lower arms are in the 90-degree angle, palms are looking at each other. And sometimes this position can help engage our opening of our chest a little bit more. Push your upper arms down, outer thighs hug the inner thighs hug the block, outer edges of your feet push down into the floor. Calves, think of them sliding down to your ankles, thighs lift. Make sure as you lift the chest, your head is comfortable and your chin doesn't peel away from your chest. As you exhale, lower back down, softly land down, rest your hands on the mat or on your belly, and take a breath or two here. Now, if you had a preference between the arms down on the mat straight, or what I call robot arms, the L shape, the 90-degree shape of the arms, pick the one you like best. And we're going to do a few more bridges with variations. Maybe we'll stay up for 2 breaths if that works, and we'll just mix it up a little bit. And feel that if your feet are comfortable, make sure of that. Make sure you like whatever prop you're using. And as you inhale, press your feet down, not like a stomping press, just more like an anchor, like your feet are like suction cup. You know those little suction cup things that you use in the bathroom, those little hooks that you could put on your shower? So that just like a little suctioning activity. If you're comfortable staying up in bridge for a moment, explore with your mind's eye or maybe with your fingertips, the lowest part of your glutes where it kind of meets the start of your upper thigh, and make sure there's a little firmness there. That's an area that we'd like to support us in our bridge position. And then as you exhale, slowly lower down again. Good. Take a breath here. Choose your arm position, 90 degrees or straight arms. And when you're ready, inhale up again. As you exhale, stay here. As you inhale, stay here. As you exhale, if it feels okay, stay here. Keep a little engagement in feet, legs, hips, thighs. And then when you're ready, slowly lower back down. And when the weight of your body comes down to the floor, let your body go soft. If you were using a prop, reach for that plop, reach for your prop and plop it down on the floor. Now see if you can keep your legs in the same orientation they were in when you had the prop there. Choose your arm position, expand your chest, dive your awareness into your breath. And as you inhale one more time, this time without any prop, and see if you can resist the knees flailing out. See if you can keep the knees kind of the same distance apart they were when you had a prop. Notice if you're feeling more weight on your upper back. Do you feel your shoulder blades digging in? If you do, come down sooner rather than later. Exhale and come down. Toe heel your feet away from each other so they're at the far sides of your mat, and let your knees tip in toward each other. They don't have to touch. They might not. Just let the knees tip in. Now take your arms out to the side. I wouldn't say straight out to the shoulder. That could be a little stressful on the shoulder joint. So maybe in like a V shape, and just start swaying your knees. Very small movement from side to side. Really super small, preparing for a twist, but we're just kind of easing ourselves into it. The back of the skull is heavy to the mat. You can close your eyes. Back and forth you go. And the next time your knees come over to your right side, let the legs come all the way down, meaning as far as they will go without muscular effort. And when you get there, if you have a prop handy, you might find you might want some support underneath your outer right thigh or underneath your inner left thigh. Turn your head to the left. You can play around with your arm position, palms down or palms up. Let your legs surrender to gravity. Make sure your low back is not irritated by this position. If it is, just bring those knees up slowly, but right away. Don't linger here. If it feels okay, take one more breath in this gentle twist. And then as you inhale, bring your knees back to center, your nose back to center, and feel your feet once again flat to the mat. Second side, as you exhale, take your knees over to the left. One side can be very, very different from another. So don't hesitate to pick up the knees if it doesn't feel good, or to prop the legs. Turn your head toward the right, away from your bent knees. Let your back rest on the floor. Let your rib cage rest on your back. Let the skin of your chest rest on your rib cage. Close your eyes and breathe here. 2 more breaths. One more breath. When you're ready, on an inhale, roll the feet back down to the mat. Bring the feet to parallel and ease over to either side. Rest on your side for a few breaths, making sure your head is comfortable. And I'm going to come up with you so I can peek and see if I can see any more of you. And press your top arm down and slowly come up to sitting. Okie doke. All right. So any comfortable seat will do. Welcome, let's see, Teresa and Kay, mysterious Kay, and whoever else came in, even though I can't see you. So you don't have to sit in a cross-legged position. Just sit in any comfortable position, including in a chair. We're just going to do some stretches for our arms and some other small things. So let's start with your right arm. So bring your left hand to your right lower arm and just stroke from the elbow down to the wrist. Sometimes things like this just feel nice. It's not really a yoga thing. Just stroke down from elbow to wrist on your right arm. Good. Now, reach your right arm across your body. Don't have it on your chest. So have a little space in between the arm and the chest, and reach it as if you were trying to grab a hold of something over on the other side, but we don't want to pull. We don't want to pull in the shoulder joint. Take your hand and gently grasp. I don't know if grasping could be gentle. Gently hold your right forearm and see how it feels to guide the arm over a little more. If any part of the body says no, 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 or ouch, 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 you stop, stop, stop. If it feels okay, cup your elbow and draw the arm over a little bit more. Alternatively, you can rest your forearm in the crook of your elbow of the opposite arm and use that to drag the arm a little bit over. Places where it's okay to feel the stretch is in the upper arm and even in the shoulder blade area on the back. We don't want it to feel like a pull. And then release that. And now your left arm, just kind of stroke the arm from elbow down to the wrist, front, back, side to side. And almost like I feel this is encouraging the body to know, because we want to be reaching through that arm. Good. And then take the arm across the body as if you're going to reach for something. You can just find your natural reach. Don't strain the shoulder connected to that arm. And then you can gently cup your forearm in the opposite hand and just use that to coax a little more reach of the arm. Or you can take your hand to the elbow and draw it across, or you can rest it in the crook. You can rest your left arm in the crook of your right elbow. So just find whatever feels good. And then when you're ready, release that, shake your arms out a little bit, and just to switch it up. So we don't want to be sitting all day, right? Or gardening all day. We don't want to be in stationary positions too long. So just switch up your seat. If you're cross-legged, you could change the cross of your legs, or you could just change the seat altogether. Let's just do one more thingamajiggy with our arms. So now here, your upper right arm, stroke it down. Stroke it down. You could be very light or very vigorous. Kind of wake up the cells there, get a little tingly action. Good. And then reach your right arm across the body again, similar to what we did before. But now, if it feels okay, you can either hold on to your forearm as you did before. Maybe you can get a little more reach. And this is not necessarily likely for many of us at this point, but if you can take your other arm and bring it above your right elbow and kind of hold it there in the crook of your elbow if it doesn't feel uncomfortable, and take a little bit more reach of your right arm to the left. And you can also turn your head in that same direction. It also gives you the opportunity to see your fingertips. And notice if your hand's doing anything weird, like if it's a claw, you can relax your hand. I just have my hands pointing like little arrows. Good. And then turn your gaze back to center, unwind your arms, and then come to your left arm. And you're just going to be stroking now the upper arm from the shoulder to the elbow. And you can turn your arm around a little bit and stimulating the superficial tissues there at the skin. And then I got a little rubbing action there. And then reach that arm across again. Notice if it feels any different, if it feels any easier. If it feels worse, then maybe you just need to rest that arm. And then you could hold the forearm to it coax a bigger stretch, or you could rest it in the crook of your hand. You could cup your elbow, or maybe you can reach the arm enough so that the upper arm above the elbow can rest in the crook of the other arm. Notice that this will hike up the shoulder a fair amount. So make sure that that feels okay. And then turn your gaze to your right. Turn your gaze to your right. You might feel a little bound and condensed in the chest. If that's irritating for your chest, don't relax the arm a little bit. Relax the arm, not the arm that you're stretching, the holding arm, so it's not pushing into you. And then turn your gaze forward, unwind your arms. Good. Oh my God. Make little stop signs with your hands and reach those arms out to the side. And then palms are turned down to the floor, and then point your fingers down, and then reach your arms forward, fingertips reaching down, maybe getting a nice stretch in the top of your wrist and the forearms. Notice what you notice, and then take your legs out in front of you if they're not, and just kind of roll your legs a little bit out and in, like you're, who's that girl? Dorothy, right? With the red slippers. I think that's, wow, my mind is going if I can't remember that. And then give a little tap out of your lower leg. So you can start with your right leg below the knee, and a little bit of the other lower leg, and then a little bit of your right thigh. I can't hear all the good slapping noises. That's a disadvantage of having the class muted. And then if it feels okay, come to quadruped position, all fours. If you need a little padding under your knees, here's where it could be handy to use your beach towel or your fluffy bath towel or a yoga blanket, or no towels at all. And take your hands shoulder width apart roughly. Take a little space between your fingers and take your knees inner hip distance apart. They're about the same distance apart that you had when you were doing the bridging activity. Okay, we're going to do a variation of cat-cow to articulate the spine without rounding the spine. So as you inhale, take a small back bend. So stay in control of it. It's very easy. At least it's easy for me to let my belly kind of sag down. And as you exhale, rather than rounding into the familiar cat shape, come to a neutral spine, long. Remember we breathed along the length of the spine from crown to tail? Press your toenails down and slide your hips a few inches back and lift your wrists up, come onto your fingertips. So we're lengthening and extending our spine in a slightly different way. And as you inhale, palms down, come back to your back bend. If you'd rather do another variation of cat-cow that you're comfortable with, that's fine. As you exhale, neutral spine, draw your hips comfortably back to your heels, press your toenails down, press the tops of your feet down, reach your arms long, and unfold the back of your neck. Palms down again. As you inhale, draw yourself forward, take a little back bend. Now here, you can either forward bend as we've been doing, or if you'd like to do a down dog this evening, I get the sense that it's kind of a mellow feeling, so you may not want to do a down dog. Tuck the toes under, get a good tuck. And as you exhale, lift up and back to downward facing dog. Let your head surrender to gravity. Let your brain surrender to gravity. Let your heels surrender to gravity. I guess let everything surrender to gravity. My glasses are falling off. My glasses are surrendering to gravity. And then gently place your knees down. Untuck your toes. Take your knees wide. Draw your hips back to your heels, only as far as your knees say it's okay for you to go. And then you can drop your forehead down into your palms, or if you had that prop we were using when we were bridging, the pillow or the block, something comfortable, you could place your head on that. Bring your awareness in this pose, in this forward bend, bring your awareness to your back. Notice the length of your back and breathe into your back lungs. Inhaling and exhaling. And then when you're ready, come up to tabletop again. We're going to make our way to standing. So yogi's choice, you can come to down dog and walk your feet to your hands. Alternatively, you could stand on your knees. If one knee is worse than the other, take the leg with the more sensitive knee forward. So because the knee that's down is going to get more pressure, and then tuck the toes of the back foot and come up to standing that way. So take your time coming up to standing, shake it out when you get there. If you're feeling like you need a little extra support this evening, you're feeling a little unbalanced, feel free to be near a piece of furniture or a wall if you feel you want that support, and just come to standing. Relax your arms down by your side. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. And just notice how much effort you're using to stand up, and try to use a little less. So here we don't necessarily want to be gripping our bums because we want them to be active in some places, and here they could be a little soft. Soften your cheeks, soften your shoulders. Imagine you had little weights attached to each fingertip, and they were just gently coaxing your arms to surrender to gravity, not pulling at your arms in any way. And then bend your elbows, join your hands together, and maybe make your stance a little firmer now. Imagine that your lower legs are reaching down into the earth and that your thighs are drawing upwards into your hips. Again, this is just a way to become more aware of our body. It's not something to be taken literally. Inhale a breath here, and as you exhale, release your arms. As you inhale, turn your palms outward, breathe your arms up. You might not see my arms in the picture, but that might not matter. Circle your right wrist with your left hand and take a really small side bend to your left. So we're not trying to curve the underside of our spine here. We just want to create more length in that right side. Turn your gaze down. And then as you inhale, come back up, join the palms together, exhale the hands to the heart. As you inhale, feel your chest rising up to your hands. Exhale, release your arms. Turn your palms outward. Inhale, bring the arms up, and then circle the opposite wrist, your left wrist with your, no, I think it's your right wrist with your left hand now. Then you get a side bend in the other direction. Good. No, actually, I think I was right the first time. Your left, yep, looks like your left wrist with your right hand. Sorry about that. Good. Turn your gaze down because it feels more comfortable. And notice if your feet are doing anything weird. I just noticed my toes were shifting. So relax your feet down. And if you want more opening on your side, on your left side, rather than bending more over to the side, pour a little more weight down through your left leg as if it were a tube and you were pouring a little more water through that tube. Oh, wow. I just feel like untucked half an inch of my waistline just from doing that movement. And then turn your gaze forward. Inhale all the way up. As you exhale, take your palms down by your side. Roll your wrists around. And roll your wrists in the other direction. We're going to do a few forward bends. When we forward bend, I recommend, especially if you're in osteopenia range, that you do not round your spine, that you come with a long spine and stay looking forward. I'm just turning to the side so you have a visual of the side view. If you need it, draw your hands to your heart center. Inhale, exhale, surrender your arms. As you inhale, slice through the air with the arms. As you take your arms up, sometimes the ribs want to push forward. So we want to keep those ribs neatly tucked in. And then as you exhale, forward fold. As you forward fold, you can swan dive with your arms wide, or you can have your hands on your hips. Come to up to a half forward bend. So a half forward bend is like an upside down, capital letter L, where your legs are vertical. That's pretty obvious. And your spine is parallel, horizontal to the mat. You can also have your shoulders a little higher. If you can go lower, that's fine. But here, just as our first one, say no more than halfway. Have your hands anchored onto your legs. Bring your awareness to the length of your spine. And also check in with your chin. Typically here, our chin is kind of pulling away a little bit from the chest. So have the back of your head long. It's especially if you wear glasses. Us wearing glasses, wearing yogis are always lifting the head up. So keep the back of your neck long. Knees can bend a little bit. Legs don't have to be straight. As you inhale, either glide your arms up the body or reverse your swan dive. When you come all the way back up, keep your arms lifted up, Urdhva Hastasana. And if it feels okay, float your heels up as well. If that feels okay on your forearms, on the fronts of your feet. Hopefully your forearms are not involved in this position really. And then join your hands together as you exhale, lower your arms. And if your heels were up, lower them too. Allow your body to go a little soft here, because if you lifted your heels, your calf muscles were really working. Invite them to be nice and soft. Inhale, exhale, release your arms. Inhale, glide your arms up. Take your arms a little wider if you like, float your heels up. If you want to test your balance, keep the heels up and turn your gaze to one side. So if you're not, when our gaze is steady, our balance tends to be steady. Turn your head through the midline, turn your head in the other direction. I'm shaking like crazy here. And then when you're ready, lower your heels down, forward bend again, either wide arms or arms right to your legs, and find your forward bend again here. Lengthen the crown of your head forward. Breathe into the length of your torso. And on an inhale, take your arms out, come all the way back up, join the hands together, finger to finger, slide your hands down to your heart center. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Stride your feet wide. We're not going to do too many standing poses this evening, since a lot of you seem to be more, at least some of you indicated that you really need a more softer evening, which is fine. So spin your right leg out and your left leg in for warrior two. But remember, we're a very prepared, very calm warrior. So we're trying not to get too fierce here this evening. As you inhale, take your arms up. As you exhale, take your arms wide. Bend your right knee and turn your gaze slowly to your right side. You can see your fingers there. Maybe take your fingers wide and then bring your fingers toward each other. Take your fingers wide, fingers toward each other. Remember the lowest part of our glute that we explored when we were in bridge pose on the mat? Here too, especially on the bent leg. See if you can liven up those babies. That will help. If you're having knee issues, that will help keep the hips strong and protect the knees. Now, slowly straighten your right leg, and like chewing gum and walking at the same time, straighten your right leg, roll your wrists around, and keep rolling the wrists so the arms are all the way up. And then roll the wrists in the opposite direction. And then join your hands together, and without smacking yourself in the nose, glide that prayer pose right down to your heart, parallel your feet. Before you do the same pose on the other side, determine if you feel, I like to go a little wider because I felt I wanted to bend my knee more and I didn't have the space, or if I felt really unstable and I want to be more balanced, bring your feet a little closer together. Warrior 2, second side, externally rotate the left leg, turn in the right leg. Check in with your hips. We want them the same distance from the earth. We don't want one hip hiked up. So see if you can get your hips pretty even from right to left and from north to south. Join your hands at the heart center. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, second side. Try and keep your shoulders stacked over your hips. Arms wide. If your arms are tired, by all means, bring them down. Turn your gaze to look toward the left side. Good. Make your stop sign hands and relax your shoulders. Good. Stretch the wrists straight. Turn your fingertips down. Get that nice stretch along the forearms. Relax the wrists. Turn the palms up. Soften the elbows. And as you slowly straighten your bent knee, circle your wrists around really slowly as you bring your arms up. And once the leg is straight and your arms are all the way up, circle the wrists in the other direction a few times. And then bring your hands together somewhere overhead. Slide them down to your heart, parallel your feet, and walk toe heel your feet together. Take your arms by your side and notice just a few, two forward bends. We did the forward bend, we did a few side bend, we did Warrior 2. Just notice that if your legs feel, ideally, they feel a little energized, a little buzzy, just from those few little things that we did. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Now take your right arm, take it out to the side and turn the thumb side of your hand down. Bend the elbow and slide the arm across your back, the back of your waist. It might be on me, on my butt, since they're like a shelf. So I'm just going to show you where my arm is. It might not be, you might have to have your hand lower. It might not be comfortable to have your arm in the right angle. You might be able to reach your fingertips on the other side and shake your hand. So what we're trying to do here is get a nice opening in the right side of your chest, but not to stress out the shoulder girdle on that side and the arm. Good. Keep that arm there if it feels okay. Then take the other arm, reach it behind you, not quite as fancy, and take your left arm and just place it on top of the right. So now you have both arms behind you, and make sure with both arms behind you, it could just be the palms behind you. It doesn't have to be the whole forearm. Make sure you're not unintentionally pushing your belly and ribs forward. Engage your core, tuck your ribs in. Inhale a breath here as you exhale. See how it feels to forward bend here. Go nice and slow. This will help to keep a nice opening in the chest as you lengthen forward. So you can come to halfway or a little less than halfway. Then when you come into a comfortable forward bend, very slowly release the bind of your arms. Pull your arms away from each other and slide your arms down your hips, but keep that delicious opening you had in your upper chest. Feel free to bend your knees a little bit. Feel free to come to a deeper forward bend now, if that works for you, bringing your shoulders below the midline. Wherever your body goes, let the head go with it. So if you're, excuse me, in a right angle, your nose is parallel to the floor. If your shoulders are lower than your hips, your head and your hair are going to drape down. Good, 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 good. Excellent. Those of you I can see. As you inhale, glide your arms up your legs or take them out, swan dive, take the arms all the way up, join the hands together, hands down to your heart. So second side, now take your left arm, reach it out, turn the palm to face the wall behind you, bend the elbow, and slide it across your back waist. So you might just end up with the hand barely behind you and a lot of elbow peeking out. But if you can, you're going to draw the arm across your back waist. Do you see that, how that feels? Then take your other arm behind you on top of the first arm. Good. You can hold, I don't know if I could show this. I guess I can. You can hold on to the arms with your hands. I like just keeping them neatly stacked on top of each other. Forward bending again. Inhale a breath here. Exhale, forward bend. As you forward bend, if it causes any discomfort in your shoulders with your arms in the spine, release the bind right away. Pause here. Notice the delicious opening in the chest you have here in this forward bend, and then release the bind of your arms. Take them down your legs and forward bend one more time. You can have your hands curling over your knees, keeping your knees nice and warm. Take one more breath here. And then from here, we're going to make our way down to the mat. Now, our class is not very long. We want to have time to relax a little more. So what you can do, you could just plop on down to your mat, or you can bend your knees, drop your hips, glide your arms down. If you want to come to another down dog, reach your hands forward, anchor your hands, and walk your feet back. But you can just come right down to hands and knees. So down doggers, you can stay in down dog for a few breaths. If that feels like a nice respite for you to take your dog for a walk, we're all going to end up in child's pose or a variation of child's pose, making sure that your back and your knees feel good. So you could just be sitting up here, bowing the head down, or you could be in child's pose. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, come to sitting. Take padding under your bottom if that helps you sit tall. Extend your legs out in front of you. We're going to come to a seated twist here. Good. And then when you're ready, bend your right knee. Have your feet comfortable on the mat. Make sure you don't bend it so much and bring it so much that you're like, I don't know, Cleopatra. She was actually a hardworking lady. I don't know if she kind of lounged around like that. So have your spine vertical. Keep the left knee, left leg straight, and the left kneecap looking up. Then you have a couple of choices here. Bring your left hand to your right shin. Eventually, your right arm is going to come behind you. You can bring it right behind you and have that support from that arm right from the start. But if you feel that you don't need to have the support right there and you can be nice and comfortable and sturdy with the right arm up, you could take it with you as you spin into your twist. Inhale into the length of your spine as you exhale. Small twist, revolve your shoulder girdle and your upper chest toward the right. Then plant that arm behind you in a way that it helps you to stay upright. You could keep your left hand on your right shin. You can take it toward the outside of the leg if that feels okay. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Make sure you're not pulling your head into the turn. Let the turn of your head mirror the twist of your spinal column. If you like, close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the front of your body, particularly the upper chest, and the back of the body, particularly the whole shoulder girdle area. Remember the ice cream sandwich. And as you inhale, breathe into the front of you and the back of you, expanding in both directions. And as you exhale, condensing toward the ice cream center. Yum, yum. Take 2 more breaths here. One more breath here. When you unwind the twist, same as you came into it, you can simply unwind and keep your back arm low, or you could take your arm up to your ear and unwind from there. Stretch that right leg out. And if it was getting a little crampy, sometimes it's the way we hold our foot. If we're a little too close or if we're tense, so you can tap out that thigh and that hip a little bit. Second side, bend your left knee in and just shift around. Make sure you're comfortable, sit tall. Take your left arm behind you right away, right hand on the shin, or turn your left palm to face your ear. Inhale, breathe into your length, anchor your sitting bones. Exhale, twist over to the second side. Try to prevent the knee from rolling out. You can toe heel your foot a little bit further to the left side of your mat, and make sure your right leg is also not hanging out and flopping out, that it's a little active. Not straining, but the kneecap pointing up, tips of your toes pointing up, leg nice and long, upper back broad, chest broad. Breathe here. On your next breath, bring your awareness to the sides of your rib cage and breathe into the right and left sides of your rib cage. Take 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath here. And when you're ready, slowly unwind, extend your left leg out, tap it out a little bit. Before we come into Shavasana, we're going to spend, if you like, just a few minutes in a supportive bridge. So in the beginning of class, we were using our muscles to get us up and down from bridge. So let me just show you for a moment here. The idea is to choose a prop that you could place under your hips, under your bot, not necessarily under your whole buttocks, but on the backs of your hips, not on your low back. If you have yoga blocks, you could take 1 block horizontally or 2 blocks lengthwise. That makes like a nice big platter. A pillow might do, but just make sure that whatever you put underneath you feels even from right to left, so your hips are at the same height. That's really important. You can stack a few blankets together, and I'm going to just get into it myself so you can have a visual for those of you who are not familiar with this. So you would lie down. I'll show you the version with 1 block, which is the most common one. You would press into your feet, lift up your hips, and slide the block underneath you or a pillow, and make sure you feel support under your right and left pelvic halves, nothing digging in to your back. It should be all on your hips. So if you did, you don't have to, but if you float your legs up, it should still feel like you're on this platform on a table, your hips like a beautiful bowl on the beautiful table, and the weight's not spilling back and ending on the top ridge of the block. So we're elevating the hips to create bridge without the muscular effort. If you like a little padding under your head, if your head needs something soft underneath it, add that. Take your arms out to the side. I like palms up here. And stay in the supported bridge for a few breaths. I'm going to come out just to see those of you who have your cameras on, if I could see anything that I can suggest that might help you. It's hard to really see. Sorry for those of you looking at my giant head. If you're comfortable in the supported back bend, stay here for a few more breaths before you transition to Shavasana. If your hips feel fully supported and stable, And that's a big if. On the prop you have, if you would like to take just a moment or two to lift your feet up, but don't curl your backs of your hips away from the prop. If it feels okay to extend your legs up to the ceiling, by all means do that, or you can just have them gently bent. Gently bent is nice too, because your legs are in a different direction from where they usually are, which is nice for the feet and ankles. And sometimes when it's bent, I feel like a breeze between my toes, more so than when I have my legs straight up toward the ceiling. I don't know, maybe that's just my house. So do what feels right. Feet down, feet up toward the ceiling. Take 3 more breaths here in whatever variation you're doing. Take a nice spacious inhale, and as you exhale, just release the weight of your pelvic halves down to the surface that is supporting them. If your legs are up, bend your knees one at a time and land your feet back down to the mat one at a time. To release, press your feet firmly down, lift the hips up, and whatever prop you had underneath you, remove it, take it to the side, and just pause here for a moment. Take your feet wide, rest your knees together, and just notice how the back of your pelvis meets the mat. Notice your low back. Ideally, maybe it feels, the curve feels a little smaller and a little more discreet. Bring your awareness to your upper back and notice if you had shoulder blades digging into the mat when you started the class, maybe now you feel broader and more of your upper back is down. From here, prepare for full and deep relaxation. So gather any props you have available that you would like. You could take padding under your head. You could take a pillow under your head. Eye pillow, or if you don't have an eye pillow, you could use a washcloth. I use my own sock sometimes at home. Even though I have an eye pillow, I just take a sock across my eyes just to reduce that input. You can dim the lights in your room. You can lie perfectly flat. If you prefer, tuck some blankets under the backs of your knees so your knees are lifted. Close your eyes. Let go wherever you can. Surrender the weight of your skull and all of its mighty thoughts and all your wisdom. Let that go. Let your brain be completely as unbusy as it can. Soften your eyes, soften your lips, soften your jaw. Invite your shoulders to surrender downward like raindrops dripping down to the earth. Invite all the stuff you carry, all the things you carry with your arms and on your shoulders, set them aside for these few final moments of your practice, these final but very key, most key important moments of your practice. Relax your hands, one finger at a time. Surrender the weight of your back body and the front body, your pelvic halves, your bottom, and your belly. Allow your legs to relax in any position you have them in. Our feet may have been made for walking, but they also need stillness. Our legs may have been also made for walking and running and standing, but they also need to rest. Invite the thighs, the strong, sturdy muscle groups of your thighs to soften like butter. So they're just kind of wrapped loosely around your thigh bones. Soften your knees, your lower legs, and your feet. And give yourself a gift of a few more minutes in stillness. Calm breath, calm body, calm mind. Easeful body, easeful breath, easeful mind. Peaceful mind, peaceful breath, peaceful body. Peacefulness, calmness, and ease. While maintaining a sense of calmness, easefulness, and peace, draw your awareness back into your body. Notice where your head is, your arms and your legs. Perhaps make small movements. One toe, one finger, maybe yawn or sigh. Turn your head slightly to one side. Imagine a little weight on that ear, not pulling your head down, but just coaxing a softness to the turn of your head and ease in the neck. Slowly bring your head back through center and take it over to the second side. Imagine that ear, bottom ear, was just a little weighty, and that weight was helping your head to surrender. Slowly sweep your head back to neutral. Stretch, yawn, or sigh. And then when you're ready, gather your limbs, bend your knees one at a time, place your feet on the mat, feel that contact with your mat, and then ease your way over to either side, going nice and slow. Take all the time in the world. You may want to draw your practice to a close sitting up. You may want to prefer to stay lying down, whatever feels right for you. Just bring calmness, but yet a sense of awareness. You know where you are in space, even though your eyes might be closed. And know that you have the whole evening ahead of you to hopefully find some more moments of relaxation before you come to bed. If you like, join your hands together one more time. Tip your heart up to your hands and bow your head, connecting that beautiful, essential pathway of head and heart and hands. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Have a lovely evening.